Do you have a room in your home that's too cold so you never go into it?
Or did you replace the roof on your house and then you found the same mold growing again in your attic?
Or is anything wrong in your home and you just don't know how to solve it?
Well, now there is help. I'm Corbett.
I'm Grace.
And what we do is kind of like going to the doctor.
Corbett's a building scientist, so he gives houses full body checkups.
So we give your home a physical, and then we do a diagnosis, and we give you a guaranteed prescription to solve your mystery problems.
So we're leaving our home in Chicago.
And we're gonna build a tiny lab.
On wheels.
And we're gonna travel around America helping homeowners solve mystery problems.
So keep an eye out, because you never know if we're gonna be in your neighborhood.
As beautiful as it is, when I'm cooking in the winter, it gets so cold. I mean, even when there's steam coming in my face from the spaghetti and whatnot, it's so cold here, but if I jack up the heat, it's hot everywhere else, and then the kids are bothering me about it. Mom, it's hot.
Even after having tested hundreds of houses, I will still step into a place and think that I know what's going on, but then I test it and I am surprised.
Starting about a month ago, the windows started fogging up, and I don't know what that has to do with, because just last year we got a brand new furnace and a new air conditioner, so.
Being able to diagnose the mystery and prescribe something that will work with certainty is awesome. That's what we love.
It's like the kitchen is having menopause or something. Okay, and then in the bedroom, right above this room right here, it also gets really cold. I mean, obviously we can pile on the blankets, but I'm just not sure because...
We get involved in three scenarios. Either you know you have a problem and you want to know for sure what it is before you start throwing money at it. You are building a new home and you want to make sure that it's done right. Or you're planning home improvements and you want to make sure that you're prioritizing things in the right order.
I mean, I'm assuming we need new windows. I mean, they're beautiful, but maybe they're old. Windows.
A lot of people think that windows determine the temperature of their home. And again, often through scientific testing, that's not what we find.
My level of expertise stops around here, so I'm glad you guys could make it.
Cool. Well, we'll get to work and we'll talk to you in a little bit.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Most of the time, with the clients that we deal with, the problem that seems to be the problem is actually not it. That's not the source of what's going on. And people get their advice from the stores that they go to and from the contractors they work with, and that's fine, but it's generally very myopic. So being able to look at it as an entire system and being able to tune everything is the real answer. So this is the blower door. It is the most important tool to use on any home. This is the centerpiece of our toolkit. Since this is a very highly calibrated scientific testing fan, we know exactly how many cubic feet per minute is going out through the fan. And when we know that, we know how many is coming in through all the gaps and cracks in the house. So if we know how big the cumulative hole in your house is, we can then zero in on exactly where those holes are.
Okay, so we took it up to 4,400 and we saw 8 air changes per hour.
Right, and we want it to be 5 instead, which would mean that all of the air in the house gets replaced 5 times if we were to run this for a full hour.
Got it.
So we're gonna grab the infrared and go find out where those holes are exactly.
Right, let's go find them.
Cool. Look, you can see some air leakage.
Typical leakage from the corner.
Right there, yeah, where it's colder, so we got the outside air. That's just a little bit cooler today than
Oh
inside.
my gosh. Your house is a system, your body is a system. So it's like if you had a stomach ache, you wouldn't just go and get your appendix removed, you'd call a doctor and go through a battery of tests to find out what's wrong. So what Corbett's doing is, after we ran the blower door, we actually put a 20-mile-per-hour wind on every single side of the house, basically, to push that warm air in against the cold air, which lights up the thermography camera. So we can see that right there, we had that whole full square, which is gonna cause a lot of air leakage up into the bedroom that she was complaining about. These are those simple things. This is a renovation, and it should have been fixed the first time. So we are technically in an old attic, right?
Yeah, this used to be the attic and then they finished it. And what we want to know is whether they finished it, or whether they kind of finished it and then covered up a bunch of stuff with drywall. So let's remember, when we do the thermography report, we'll put all these can lights in there as well, because these probably leak just like the ones downstairs.
Straight outside.
So we had a case where we were called out because there was mold in an attic. And they had hired a mold expert, and the mold expert said, yes, there's mold, and what you need is more attic ventilation, more holes between the attic and outside. When we actually went up and tested the bath fan, and then found out that it was emptying into the attic.
What happened was somebody thought that somebody had finished the job, and oops, it didn't get done.
So someone just forgot to connect the vent to the cap in the roof, and it developed into a huge mold problem that the homeowner then thinks is maybe the roof and maybe the air conditioner and all these things. That's absolutely not.
Oh, you found your favorite room?
Yep, good stuff.
All right, so what are you seeing up here?
So what we're looking for up here is we had some moisture problems, and the homeowner thought that it was a roof leak. And a lot of times it's actually not a roof leak at all. So we want to know for a fact whether the moisture is coming from outside in or whether it's generated from hot, moist air coming in contact with cold things. And we have a giant air conditioning system up here, so this is a perfect place where condensation could create little water problems that masquerade as roof leaks, and they're actually not. You could spend tens of thousands of dollars on your roof over many years thinking that you're fixing a problem, and it's actually not a problem with the roof at all. So what's really wacky about this is that we found through pressure testing that that room, which is an attic room, and it's really not super clean, definitely not part of the cleaning schedule, is totally inside the house. It's as inside the house as this bedroom that we're in right now. So if there's a room that's that filthy inside your house, are you worried about it? Yeah, you should be worried about it. The problem is that since the insulation is hidden, you're not really aware of whether it's in the floor, which means that that's an outside room, or in the ceiling, which means it's inside. And it's totally in the ceiling. So the issue is now, are the rooms in your house inside or outside? And you want all of them to be either or, not in between.
One of the things that I'm really passionate about with home testing is children. We often see children developing allergies from their home. And it's from crawl spaces and air leakage, and this is a huge problem, and it doesn't need to be one. And the only thing blocking that room from this bedroom is this tiny little door. So you're breathing this in at night. Kids develop allergies easily from those dust mites. It's not a good situation.
And people generally think that popping the hood on their house is getting the air conditioner looked at by somebody who looks at air conditioners, or getting the insulation looked at by somebody who looks at insulation. And if you call one of those people, if you call a shoe person and say, hey, my back hurts, maybe it's my shoes, they're gonna say, yeah, let's fix your shoes. Like, of course.
Corbett not only does all this testing, but he also trains a lot of professionals. He actually literally wrote the book on home performance diagnostics. We have come up with a 5-point method that is a DIY super easy thing for homeowners to do to start wrapping their brains around getting ready for testing. One other cool thing that he's come up with is the Home Proof Score. Basically, it's just like an exam. If you want the best score, you're gonna get 100%. And houses like this, no idea what it's gonna be.
And lastly, we can check for duct leakage. So we wanna know that the air that we're sending into the system actually comes out of the registers and not in all the gaps and cracks. Definitely the pressures and the temperatures are outside the range of what we want to see.
So I have a question for you. Are we gonna have to replace this?
I think that, yeah, it was a mistake to put it in. Because it's, you know, they didn't do the calculations to figure out how big it needed to be, so they just...
But then they put a ductwork that's too small onto this furnace.
Right. And the ductwork could actually stay. I think that the ductwork could stay. The furnace can go. In a house, you've got HVAC systems that are heating and cooling, and then you've got now ventilation systems that are bringing in fresh air that's part of the state codes. You've got air tightness, and you've got insulation, and you've got moisture movement, and you've got the behavior of the people who live there, which is always different as well. And all these things are interacting with each other, in our clients' cases, not correctly. They're having side effects. And so generally what we're trying to do is just tune all of the systems in the home so that they're actually working together to give you the life that you want.
All right, Corbin Grace, what do you got for me?
First off, we have solved your problem. When you called us here, you told us that the kitchen is uncomfortable, that you had a hard time getting the right temperature in that bedroom, and that you had the moisture issues. So what we found is twofold. So one is that you've got some air sealing and insulation issues that can be fixed. So basically, we're gonna take a team of professionals who know how this stuff works up into the attic, and we're gonna take some of the insulation out and air seal back behind that, which should have happened at the get-go.
The air sealing, like a windbreaker, will actually make the insulation work better, just like it would make a sweater make you more cozy if you've got that air sealing on it.
The bigger issue is this furnace and air conditioner.
We found that your new furnace and AC is actually twice the size that it needs to be. So it doesn't fit your ductwork, it never goes through a full cycle, and that's why you're seeing this condensation on the windows. What we're gonna do is actually replace it with 1/2 its size.
You're gonna replace my brand new furnace with a brand new furnace?
Yeah, but the one that's half the size is going to actually fit the ductwork, and it's gonna fit your house. So it will go through a full cycle, you're not gonna have those temperature issues, and your energy bills are gonna be lower.
Okay, so I know I'm not the expert, but can't we just, I don't know, say double the size of the ductwork?
The ductwork actually was smartly, accidentally sized properly for what the house is going to be when it's improved. So when we put the new equipment in there, it actually fits the house. It's tailored for the house, so it's tuned to everything. And what you have right now is like a piece of clothing that's twice as big as what you need.
A lot of homeowners get oversold on furnaces and ACs all the time. They often think bigger is better. It's just not true sometimes.
So good news though, big picture, you do not need new windows.
Oh, okay, that is great news. I love that. I'm gonna make my husband happy. He's gonna be a little bit bummed that I didn't meet you before we did any work to the house, but I guess better late than never, huh?
Yeah, and we're gonna be able to fix that temperature issue in your mother's room, and so you're never gonna have to have her sleep on the couch. She will be comfortable upstairs and happy.
Giving the homeowners answers, actual answers that aren't just opinions, is intensely satisfying because they don't even know that exists, right? They're just used to listening to opinions all day long and advice. But when you give them science, that's something totally different that they've never dealt with before.
This is your house. You live in it. You spend years of your life in it. It should be right.